So, good morning, everybody. My name is Andrea Tinti from CETMA, and I'm presenting the work done in the Refresh project as regards to the development of new products from end-of-life wind turbine blades. Just a couple of words about the CETMA, that is a private research and technology organization based in Brindisi, Southern Italy, who offers contract research and advanced engineering service on different areas, in particular the Advanced Material and Processes department, where we, the CETMA's participated in Refresh project, has been working on polymer and composite materials and related technologies for over 30 years, since 1994. So we have seen that Refresh project deals with both recycling and repurposing circular economy strategies belonging to the so-called end-of-life approach. On the other hand, the most preferred option in the waste hierarchy would be the prevention of waste. This can be obtained by means of a proactive approach known as eco-design, including a range of strategies designers may take to improve the environmental performance of the product. And Refresh has the opportunity working also on eco-design by applying this approach on a wide range of new products from end-of-life wind blades. So in this framework, the role of CETMA was likely to coordinate the development of new products for several application sectors by using eco-design methodologies. During this presentation, I share key insights on 3 representative case studies working on. So we'll have application of secondary raw materials from thermal recycling with the partner Aircraft, application of secondary raw materials from mechanical recycling together with the partner GIS Recycling, and repurposing of blade portions with the partner Etanaf. The fourth case study, applications in concrete structures, will be covered in a dedicated presentation later on this morning by the partner Tecnal. So let's start with the first case study, that is about thermal recycling. This is a very multi-partner case study, including not only Refresh partners, but also external stakeholders, so allowing to build up a full product supply chain. Within the already mentioned Refresh value chain, the developed solution was first to turn the Aircraft thermally recycled glass fibers into a semi-finished material, then to be used as a part of a new wind turbine blade component, so in a really closed loop approach. But let's see a few details more on this case study. First of all, non-woven products, a non-woven mat in particular, was developed based on thermally recycled glass fibers. The processing approach was based on a clay and thermobonding technology to get, thanks to the collaboration with the Italian company Cormatex. With respect to traditional needle punching, thermobonding relies on the adhesive effect of a thermoplastic binding. So this can help when using recycled fibers where the thermal treatment at high temperature could have caused material embrittlement. Well, then the possible application on the recycled mat of a recycling coating has been studied. The sizing of glass fibers, of course, has been lost during the thermal treatment, and it could be useful in enhancing adhesion with resin in a new composites. We used a formulation for epoxy and the related treatment procedure at laboratory scale, and the effectiveness of this treatment was evaluated by mechanical testing of laminates, of composite laminates manufactured with and without the sizing applied. Then, with the produced non-woven mat, the vacuum infusion process of both flat laminates and more complex shapes was studied. This is a manufacturing process of great interest in many industry sectors. Mechanical properties measured on infused laminates based on our recycled mat were found to be very close to commercial virgin glass fiber matte laminates with similar features thus confirming the good residual quality of the used pyrolyzed glass fibers. As a matter of fact, in this case, no significant effect of the sizing was noticeable, but it was probably due to the low glass fiber content in the laminate that you can see was below 20%. So the expected increase of laminate strength is in the range of properties standard deviation. Well, no one products can have a number of applications, but closing the loop in the wind energy sector would be the best possible result. This is why our woven mat, our recycled mat, was used as a non-structural element in a new wind blade layup, as discussed with the Irish manufacturer Air Composites. In this picture, you can see the selected wind blade, 13 meters long, and related structure, where the inner and outer skin of both shells, now manufactured using a virgin triaxial glass fiber, is not considered structural and could possibly be replaced by a recycled glass fiber mat. So a full-scale wind blade section was manufactured by Air Composites by using the vacuum diffusion process, demonstrating that the possibility using our developed recycled mat into an existing product without any change in the manufacturing process. The prototype has been exhibited at the JEC Innovation Planet this year, receiving a lot of interest. The solution has also been applied at the 2026 Innovation Awards of the European Association of Research and Technology Organization, which CETMA is member of, with a final award ceremony will be held in Brussels next month. In the 6 months remaining of the project, the refresh will end at the end of 2026. Numerical validation, life cycle cost analysis along the whole value chain of the product will be carried out, and possibly further details could be shared later on for the project newsletter and other communication media. Well, moving on to the second case study about mechanical recycling, probably this is the one currently closer to the market. This is about application in building and construction of mechanically recycled composite panels. Again, the project value chain helps making clear the workflow. First of all, as reported during the previous presentation by Giorgio, the mechanical recycling process developed by GIS Recycling leads to semi-finished flat panels with varying composition, density, and then mechanical properties, possibly to be reinforced with fiberglass skins in a sandwich structure. So several types of GIS mechanical recycled panels were selected as candidates for the intended application, and they were mechanically tested. Based on results of material testing, the sandwich panel was found to be the best solution for new structural application loaded in bending as the one we are working on. In fact, frame formwork for shaping vertical concrete walls and columns was the selected application for this case study. The concept basically is to substitute the outer sheet traditionally made of plywood by means of a GIS recycled panel reinforced with fiberglass skins. Vertical formwork have specific standards to comply with, defining the most important performance parameter, most of all the so-called maximum lateral fresh concrete pressure that in turn reflects the maximum height of the fresh concrete column and the surface flatness tolerance under pressure in order to avoid rounded structure. For both parameters, the target values we aim to are highlighted in this slide. So again, a numerical study has been developed to design a vertical formwork based on GIS recycled panel. The structure of the formwork element is reported, made of a frame, and a sheet. For the sheet, the sandwich panel with varying skin thickness was considered due to its higher flexural properties as reported. For the frame, both traditional aluminium and commercial pultruded profiles were evaluated in different number and geometries. Then, to model the process of concrete pouring, a static pressure was applied normally, corresponding to a fresh concrete column of variable height, and the autoplane deformation were numerically measured, mostly affecting the sheet rather than the rigid frame that always resulted quite unaffected. So in the end, virtual testing allowed to optimize the constructive parameters to get the required performance, basically the permitted pressure and deformation. So what's next in the last months of the project? The manufacturing of the formwork elements is in progress by GIS based on the optimum numerically modeled design. Experimental validation will be carried out first at CETMA laboratory scale and then possibly to real testing on worksite environment. The third case study is about repurposing. We have seen that Refresh project explores both recycling and repurposing strategies for end-of-life wind turbine blades. Repurposing means reusing an existing part of the blade for a different application. In respect to recycling, repurposing is considered a better option because needing only minimum reworking, basically resides or reshaping. As usual, a sketch is reported of the value chain related to this case study, showing that the final product with application in urban furniture does not originate from recycled materials, but rather directly from the process of blade dismantling and cutting into large sections. Okay, with regards to repurposing strategy, Refresh aims to explore both the traditional and an alternative approach. The traditional approach is to repurpose full blade section as they are. There are already examples of wind blade section with full turbine blades being transformed into playgrounds, bridges, shelters, and other urban furniture installation. On the other hand, the segmentation of the blade into construction elements like beam and panels with standard size and accuracy has been recently proposed as an alternative repurposing approach and reported to allow diversifying potential application. So, the first repurposed prototype is a picnic table. This was a reproduction from the authors who proposed the alternative repurposing approach I mentioned a moment ago. The structure is made of balsa fiberglass sandwich panels recovered from wind blade parts as flat as possible. And to join together the different recovery routes developed within Refresh, a recycled panel was produced by GIS with the mechanical recycling procedure and added as the top of the picnic table. This prototype has been exhibited at the JC Show 2025 edition. In the second part of the project, instead, CETMA worked on the development of the Refresh original repurposed prototype. The general idea was not to limit our attention on urban furniture items with just, let me say, self-supporting features like tables, shelter, and so on, but to try exploring more structural application that could take advantage of the residual mechanical performance of end-of-life composite components. So we proposed a crash cushion. Of course, there are specific standards to comply with. Accordingly, crash cushion shall be tested under certain impact test criteria that in turn define their performance level. Then a numerical study has been developed to evaluate the technical feasibility of this concept. That is, a class cushion based on a number of sections recovered from end-of-life wind blades. As a reference blade model, the already mentioned wind blade by Air Composites has been used, 13 meters in length, very well known in geometry and constituent materials. In particular, the highlighted section was considered about 80 centimeters wide, with sides in the range of typical class cushion dimension. It's worth noting that because using a full blade section, this can be considered a traditional repurposing example. Well, then a virtual crash test has been preliminary run considering entry-level impact conditions, that is a vehicle approaching frontally at low speed. A number of different configurations were analyzed that are reported here in top view by changing the number of blade sections, their position, the way they are connected to each other. And okay, an example of virtual crash test is shown inside view first, and then also in top view. Well, the output of virtual crash test, the graphs reporting velocity and acceleration versus time, so allowing a direct comparison with the limits reported in the related technical standard already mentioned for the so-called vehicle impact severity indexes. So based on results of this analysis, we were able to define the optimal class cushion configuration. What's next in the last part of the project? We'll replicate virtual testing on class cushion made of tip sections from longer blades, much more common of the small blade by Air Composites. Basically, we'll have the same size and shape of the section, but a stronger internal structure. So we should be able to use a lower number of sections to get the same stopping power of the class cushion. We also are going to physically assembly a prototype by using a number of sections recovered from 45-meter long wind blades that the partner ETANAF is dismantling right in this period. No real testing will be carried out for validation due to high cost and complexity of real crash test. This prototype will be a very preliminary, most of all communication-oriented demonstrator of the application concept we are working on, opening the door to future in-depth analysis within dedicated project, possibly involving sector stakeholders, for example, road restraint system manufacturers. So, to conclude, the mission of CETMA was to turn refreshed technologies into new end products for different applications and having high ambitions in economic, environmental, and as well as technical performance. What I wanted to outline in this presentation is that with today's knowledge and technologies, recycling and repurposing of end-of-life composites are established technologies that must replace low value-added waste management routes like energy recovery or waste landfilling. The market is ready for new products like those reported today, and plenty of other solutions can be conceived when industry, research, engineering association work together with the common objectives like we did in Refresh project. So thanks to all Refresh partners for this great journey together, and thanks to all the audience for your attention.